The praise today, sir.
Indeed, I am.
This is the second spontaneous.
Yes.
Take a bow.
Right.
Take a
Right.
bow, Jim.
Yes, and Anne, you should as well, for the relish with which you read those lines. First profanity
I
laden, and the
practice
second.
all the time. I was waiting for this moment.
I'm expecting her to be named from the altar on Sunday. After that.
Yes. I'll be there.
Okay, well, as you can tell, out in video land, we're already having fun here, reading Hamlet, the tragedy. So we're going to continue reading Hamlet. We are on Act 3, Scene 2. And it is a little ways into the traveling theater group making a presentation. And so we start today. I'll start. Do we have a reading? Okay. Okay.
You need to.
So I'll begin. So Hamlet, Wormwood, Baptista. The instances that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I kill my husband dead, when second husband kisses me in bed. Player King. Actually, let me pass it on. Katrina, go ahead and take Player King.
Player King. I do believe you think now you speak. You think what now you speak, but what we do determine off we break. Purpose is but the slave to memory of violent birth, but poor validity, which now like fruit unripe sticks on the tree, but fall unshaken when they mellow be. Most necessary 'tis that we forget to pay ourselves what to ourselves is debt. To what to ourselves in passion we propose, the passion ending doth the purpose lose. The violence of either grief or joy, their own enactures with themselves destroy. Where joy most revels, grief doth most lament. Grief joys, joy grieves, on slender accident. This world is not for aye, nor 'tis not strange that even our loves should with our fortunes change, for 'tis a question left us yet to prove whether love lead fortune or else fortune love. The great man down you mark his favorite flies, the poor advanced makes friends of enemies, and hitherto doth love on fortune tend, for who not needs shall never lack a friend. And who in want a hollow friend doth try, directly seasons him his enemy. But orderly to end where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run, that our devices still are overthrown. Our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead. Next.
Player Queen. Nor earth to me give food, nor heaven light. Spot and repose lock from me day and night. To desperation turn my trust and hope, and anchor's cheer in prison be my scope. Each opposite that blanks the face of joy, meet what I would have well, and it destroy. Both here and hence pursue me lasting strife, if once a widow, ever I be wife. Hamlet, if she should break it now, Player King, 'tis deeply sworn, sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep. Player Queen, sleep rock my brain, he sleeps. And never come mischance between us twain. Exit. Hamlet, Madam, how likes you this play? Queen, the lady does protest too much, methinks. Hamlet, oh, but she'll keep her word. King, have you heard the argument? Is there no offence in it? Hamlet, no, no, they do but jest, poison in jest, no offence in the world. King, what do you call the play? Hamlet, the mousetrap. Marry? How? Tropically, this play is the image of a murder done in Venice. Gonzaga is the Duke's name, his wife Batista. You shall see anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work. But what of that? Your Majesty and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the gall jade whence our withers are unwrung. Next, please.
Enter Lucianus. This is one Lucianus, nephew to the king. Ophelia, you are as good as a chorus, my lord. Hamlet, I could interpret between you and your love if I could see the puppets dallying. Ophelia, you are keen, my lord, you are keen. Hamlet, it would cost you a groaning to take off my edge. Ophelia, still better and worse. Hamlet, so you must take your husbands. Begin, murderer, pox, leave thy damnable faces and begin. Come, the croaking raven doth bellow for revenge. Lucianus, thoughts black, hands up, drugs fit and time agreeing. Confederate season, else no creature seen. Thou mixed your rank of midnight weeds collected. With Hecate's band thrice blasted, thrice infected, thy natural magic and dire property, unwholesome life usurp immediately. Pours the poison into the sleeper's ear. Hamlet, he poisons him in the garden for his estate. His name's Gonzala. The story is extant and written in very close Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love for Gonzala's wife. Ophelia, the king rises. Hamlet, what? Frightened with false fire? Queen, how fares my lord? Polonius, give over the play. King, give me some light away. Polonius, lights, lights, lights. Exeunt all but Hamlet and Horatio. Donna.
Hamlet. Why, let the stricken deer go weep, the heart ungalled play. For some must watch, while some must sleep. Thus runs the world away. Would not this, sir, in the forest of feathers, if the rest of my fortunes turned Turk with me, with 2 provincial roses on my raised shoes, get me a fellowship in a cry of prayer, sir. Horatio, half a share. Hamlet, a whole one, I. For thou dost know, O Damon dear, this realm dismantled was of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very, very payjob. Horatio, you might have rhymed. Hamlet, oh good Horatio, I'll take the ghost word for £1,000. Didst perceive? Horatio, very well, my lord. Hamlet, upon the talk of poisoning. Horatio, I did very well note it. Hamlet, aha. Come, some music, come the recorders. For if the king like not the comedy, by then belike he likes it not purdy. Come, some music. Next, please.
Enter.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, we stopping?
No.
Let's see. Now, why don't you and Sylvia, why don't you and Dave read, and then we'll stop then.
Oh, am I before Dave? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Good, my lord, vouchsafe me a word with you. Hamlet, sir, a whole history. Guildenstern, the king, sir. Hamlet, aye, sir, what of him? Guildenstern, is in his retirement marvellous, distempered. Hamlet, with drink, sir. Guildenstern, no, my lord, with choler. Hamlet, your wisdom should show itself more richer to signify this to the doctor. For me to put him to his purgation would perhaps plunge him into more choler. Guildenstern, good, my lord, put your discourse into some frame, and start not so wildly from my affair. Hamlet, I am tame, sir, pronounce. Guildenstern, the queen, your mother, in most
great affliction of spirit has sent me to you. Hamlet, you are welcome. Next.
Nay, my good lord, this courtesy is not of the right breed. If it shall please you to make me a wholesome answer, I will do your mother's commandment. If not, your pardon and my return shall be the end of my business. Sir, I cannot. What, my lord? Make you a wholesome answer, my wit's diseased. But, sir, such answer as I can make, you shall command, or rather, you shall say, my mother. Therefore, no more, but to the matter. My mother, you say? Then thus she says, your behavior has struck her into amazement and admiration. O wonderful son that can so astonish a mother! But is there no sequel at the heels of this mother's admiration? Impart. She desires to speak with you in her closet ere you go to bed. We shall obey, were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us? My lord, you once did love me, and still do by these pickers and stealers. My good lord, what is the cause of your distemper? You do surely bar the door upon your own liberty if you deny your griefs to your friends. Sir, I lack advancement. How can that be when you've the voice of the king himself for your succession in Denmark? Maybe I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, why don't you read that? This is the last piece where Hamlet says I, but.
Oh, yes, of course. Okay. Enter player with the chorus. Aye, sir, but while the grass grows, the proverb is something musty. Oh, the recorders, let me see one. To withdraw with you, why do you go about me to recover the wind of me, as you would drive me into a toil? Oh, my lord, if my duty be too bold, my love is too unmannerly. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, no, let's stop there. I
Stop there,
thought
okay.
that was just going to be one little piece, and
Yeah.
but I was wrong. Well, this is quite a big chunk and a crucial chunk of the play right here. Amazing. Let's go back to Wormwood. Work our way through all of this. There's a lot here. Okay, great. So anybody want to make any overall statements of what we've read?
Well, the Hamlet is clearly telling the king, I know what you did. And by the king's reaction, I think nearly everybody else now knows it too.
Yeah, I think he set the trap and the
Mhm.
king fell right into it. And if the king had been innocent, he would have just appreciated it as a play.
And yet Horatio, and this is not me, this would have been one of my profs, said, Horatio gives a kind of half-hearted answer, you know?
Really?
Didst perceive? I'll take the ghost's word for £1,000. Didst perceive? Very well, my lord. Upon the talk of poisoning? I did very well note him. That's it. He didn't say, bingo, buddy. You hit the jackpot here. You hit a bullseye.
Okay.
I mean, he's very restrained in his response, and it could simply be because Hamlet is so manic at this point that he's trying to kind of bring him down. But it's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's a very good point that I actually hadn't noticed.
I was blessed with good professors. I wouldn't have come up with that on my own, I'm sure. It's some remarkable people who taught me.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, once it's pointed out, it made sense to you, right? I mean, that's
Yeah. And you know, the other thing I'd say, I guess since I've got the floor, is Katrina, when you were reading that part, you were working hard. You were really working hard to kind of wrap your mouth around that speech. And I think it's because it's a hard speech. And I'm not sure how the Queen was, because it's directed at the Queen, and I'm not sure how she would have picked that up. because after all the times I've read the play, I'm still looking through this speech trying to go, okay, let's parse it through line by line.
So which speech are we talking about?
That's where Katrina started with the Player King. I do believe you think what now
Oh,
you speak.
okay.
And I
Yes.
would just say, Katrina, that I'm so pleased that you had to read this one and not me.
Well, I felt it was difficult to read in that it was banal, I thought.
Okay.
That as we were talking before,
Hmm.
this the da 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 and the forced rhyme. I thought maybe it was part of the parody.
Yeah.
I
Dave,
think this
Dave,
may
could you
be.
give us that again about what you said about Horatio?
Well, the response is kind of non-committal, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly lukewarm. You know, he didn't tell Hamlet that, like I said, that he'd hit the jackpot or he'd hit a bullseye with this. He just said he perceived it very well, and upon the talk of poisoning, I did very well note him. But he never really affirms, you know, Ham, buddy, you're right on this one. He doesn't do it.
And yeah, when
I've never
whoever
heard him
was
called hand buddy before. Let's remember that.
But when it was being read, I actually thought that Horatio was giving him strong approval. So that's interesting. So it's interesting.
Well,
I guess I must have been ready or wanted that.
Yeah, and the fact that he didn't contradict him too,
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe says something as well. You know, on the other side, yeah.
We didn't finish the scene, which might, unfortunately, I guess, not having looked ahead, there might be some bearing on all of this in the last part. The last.
Isn't that the part that we haven't read when Hamlet goes to Gertrude's bedroom?
Well, we have where we left off, and where Dave left off reading after the players with recorders. The next page is the end of the scene. So I'm just wondering if we might want to finish reading the scene.
Okay, all right.
I don't know, but they might have some answers in it.
Why don't we go ahead? Dave, do you want to read a little bit more of that, or you want to pass it on?
Okay, just a sec. I'll just pick it up where we were. Okay,
Guildenstern.
I think it's Guildenstern. Okay, my lord, if my duty be too bold, my love is too unmannerly. I do not well understand that. Will you play upon this pipe? My lord, I cannot. I pray you. But believe me, I cannot. I pray you. Believe me, I cannot. I do beseech you. I know no touch of it, my lord. It's as easy as lying. Govern these vintages with your fingers and thumb, give it breath with your mouth, and it will discourse most elegant music. Look you, these are the stops. But these I cannot. But these cannot I command to any utterance of harmony. I have not the skill. Why, look you now, how unworthy a thing you make of me. You would play upon me. You would seem to know my stops. You would pluck out the heart of my mystery. You'd sound me from the lowest note to the top of my compass. And there's much music, excellent voice in this little organ. Yet cannot you make it speak? Splud! Do you think I'm easier to be played on than a pipe? Call me what instrument you will. Though you can fret me, you cannot play upon me. Duncan?
God bless you, sir. Okay, do we want to continue through Polonius?
We should go to the end of that page, I think, as Katrina suggested.
Okay, enter Polonius. Polonius, my lord, the queen would speak with you in presently. Hamlet, do you see the cloud that's almost the shape like a camel? Polonius, by the mass, and it's like a camel indeed. Hamlet, methinks it's like a weasel. Polonius. It is back like a weasel. Hamlet. Or like a whale? Oh, very much like a whale. Hamlet. Then I will come to my mother by and by. They fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by. Polonius. I will say so. Hamlet. By and by is easily said. Leave me, friends. Exit all but Hamlet. Katrina. You have to turn on your microphone, Katrina. Yeah.
'Tis now the very witching time of night when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. Soft, now to my mother, O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites. How in my words soever she be shent, to give them seals never my soul consent.
Okay.
I think that gives it a bit more context, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, he is continuing
Yeah.
to expose the others as maybe not being in on the plot, but to be coming to the king's defense and looking at Hamlet as the kingdom wrecker.
This is a bit like the stream of consciousness in Ulysses. We have a stream of consciousness here from Hamlet. We're getting into his thought processes, where the previous conversations between himself and Horatio, himself and Guildenstern, himself and Polonius, he's really winding those people up, I think. Whereas now he's thinking to himself. In other words, he's talking to us, the audience, and he's telling us what his real thoughts are. He's talking about, how tis now the very witching time of night. This to me is classic Shakespeare. We have that in Macbeth as well, where winding up Macbeth to go and murder Duncan, and it's that sort of time of the night when what does he say? The hell itself breathes out contagion to this world.
Yeah.
So you're specifically referring to that very last piece. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it contextualizes the whole of the previous scene. That's my view.
Yeah. And the reference to to Nero, Nero.
Mhm.
He murdered his mother. So
Mhm.
he's given us a little.
Yeah, I agree, Sylvia. I think it's important where he says, I will speak daggers to her, but use none. So in other words,
Mhm.
he doesn't plan to commit murder, but he intends to have his say.
Right. He's going to let her know directly.
Yeah, in no uncertain terms by all accounts.
But he will not murder. And I believe earlier when his father, the ghost, came, that I think there was a hint from the ghost to handle Gertrude that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says, leave her to heaven.
Yeah.
Leave her to heaven. Mhm.
Oh, this was the ghost, was it, Dave?
Yeah, in act, I missed that session, but yeah, that's right. He basically says, kill Claudius, but leave your mother to heaven.
Mhm.
Now, I guess since we're kind of twisting this out, you might wonder what kind of a loving father would stick his kid with, oh yeah, leave your mother to heaven, but kill Claudius. Why not leave them both to heaven? For those of the Dante group, we know what happens if you do bad things on earth, right? But instead,
Mhm.
he's stuck this very sensitive kid with doing a pretty awful deed,
Well,
but lead your
remember,
mother to heaven.
right, yeah, but his father is the old style Hamlet,
Right. Yep.
and Hamlet Jr. is the new style Hamlet.
Good point. That's a very good point. So you're saying like there's a sort of a generational shift here.
This is a generational shift. Yes,
Mhm.
back in Papa's day, everything was cut and dry.
Yeah.
Somebody does you bad, boom. Someone
Yeah.
gives you trouble in your borders, boom. Solve the problem through violence and death
Correct.
and all that. But Hamlet's the new.
That's
He
right.
did come from Wittenberg. So here,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just spin some stuff out. He is a university student.
He is.
Okay. And of course, there's no way to know whether his father ever went to university, but I doubt it. I think his father was trained in the old arts of the sword, you know, and getting things done.
Mm.
It's kind of a Homeric. They're Homeric type people. Someone gives you trouble, go get them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, and that's just a guess on my part. But I mean, he
No, I,
did he did come from Wittenberg, where the university is. The young Hamlet did.
Yes.
we were talking last week about how Hamlet is a new kind of hero. And so right between that generation, he's somewhat undecisive, unsure, doesn't just go out and commit murder, but is very cautious and careful and plans it very carefully.
Yeah. Mhm.
So he's sort of an anti-hero.
He wants to make sure,
Yeah,
and then after he makes sure that he still needs to figure out what actually he's going to do.
yeah.
But this was he set the play up, he observed it, and I think that the reaction of everybody else after the play, Polonius, Guildenstern, the reports of Claudius being very upset and angry.
Mhm.
This is all more proof.
Duncan, you said earlier before we started that some of this play was written by Hamlet.
Yeah.
Which part was, you
I
said it'd
think
be
it
really,
actually started very soon, and I think actually the part you were talking about being hard is a fairly sophisticated. At least the concepts are quite sophisticated.
oh. Okay, you think that might have been written by Hamlet?
I think that might have been written by Hamlet.
Wow, because I just saw it.
And then he slipped in. Of course, Hamlet slipped in that whole, the mousetrap was all Hamlet.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
And the mousetrap, I'm sure, was Hamlet. This earlier part, I only conjecture that also it was from Hamlet because it's very sophisticated. It's talking about even when we decide that we're going to do something or we have an intention, that so much of the time the reality completely changes our intention, and we
Hmm.
end up not doing. So let's go. I would like to go through the player king. We have Baptista. Baptista is just very good. She's just kind of throwing stuff out there crudely. Second time I kill my husband dead when second husband kisses me in bed.
But, yeah.
Okay, then player king.
I like the line when Hamlet asks his mother, Madam, how like you this play? And she says, the lady don't protest too much, methinks. And Hamlet says, oh, but she'll keep her word, unlike you. And that's just, shoo, boom. Cuts her off.
Wasn't that
She
line
won't.
used about Margaret Thatcher? Sorry, Anne. Was that
Oh,
line
yeah,
used about
yeah.
Margaret Thatcher? Yeah.
Yes.
The lady that protests too much.
The lady won't be.
But the lady is not returning.
Yes, from the Christopher Fry play, the lady's not for burning. Yes.
Mhm. Would it be okay to go through the player king thing that starts, I do believe you think what now you
Yeah.
speak?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to go through the first. I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine oft we break. So even when we've decided to do something, actually we don't end up doing it.
Mm.
Okay. Purpose is but the slave to memory of violent birth, but poor validity. So we make decisions. Purpose is but the slave to memory of violent birth, but poor validity, which now like fruit unripe sticks on the tree, but fall unshaken when they mellow be. Help me.
I think we all need help, but those lines are very difficult.
So, a slave to the violent. Yes. So validity means strength, according to my notes. So you propose things. Purpose is but slave to memory. We forget. And so if we're enslaved to something and the memory fades, the ties kind of loosen. A violent birth, but poor validity, validity being strength, which now like fruit unripe sticks on the tree. So if you got an apple tree and there are unripe apples, you shake the tree, they hang there.
Mm-hmm.
Give it time and those apples will fall and you don't even have to shake the tree. And he's saying that's what the resolve here is like. At first the resolve is like those unripe apples sticking to the tree, but as the resolve weakens, you don't even have to shake the tree. Those apples are going to fall on their own, and that's what he's saying is happening in terms of his father's memory.
It's a good analysis. Yeah.
Yeah. That it's that the ties to his dad, the ties to the father's memory, weaken over time.
Okay, that's at this particular moment in the play. Most necessary 'tis what we forget, to pay ourselves what to ourselves is debt.
Okay.
What to ourselves in passion we propose, the passion ending, thus the purpose lows. I'm just taking a guess that there's some proposed lows, and instead of
Yeah.
lose, it would be lows. What to ourselves, and by God, I know exactly what he's talking about. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know, where we go, right, I'm going to take action, and it's like things kind of weaken and fall apart, and no action is taken. So it seems to me he's kind of repeating the same theme multiple times.
Yeah.
in different
Yep.
ways. Because then we got the passion ending, doth the purpose lows. The violence of either grief or joy, their own enactures. And enacture is fulfillments, performances with themselves destroy.
I think he's basically saying that in the heat of the moment, we're going to act, we're going to do something, but that as time passes and we reflect a bit more, it's like the reference he makes there to the apple on the tree. It's not going to fall in the heat of the moment, but as you calm things down and get to the autumn, it'll fall down by itself. So in other words, you take the heat out of the action, reflect, and become more mellow.
Mm-hmm.
Because he says the violence of either grief or joy, their own enactures with themselves destroy.
So it's almost like if you fully express your grief,
Hmm.
that will end the grief.
Yeah.
Or if you're having joy and you become overly joyful, you'll get tired. This is very much what Chinese medicine says, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grief, joys, joy,
Joys and
grief.
joys, grief, grief.
Grief, joys, joy, grieves on slender accident. So they change from one to the other.
The other.
This world is not for aye, nor 'tis not strange that even our love should with our fortunes change. And then, let's see, so that I means ever. The world is not forever. This world is not forever. Nor 'tis strange that even our love should with our fortunes change.
Nor it is not strange, right?
Not strange. Yeah.
Uh,
Nor 'tis not strange to not strange that even our loves should with our fortunes change. This is quite a strong piece of cynicism here.
Well, I think what he's saying is loving or hating, nothing can last. Like he's saying, joy can turn to grief and grief to joy. He's talking about impermanence.
About the what?
Impermanence.
Impermanent.
Yes, he's talking about impermanence. That's true. That's true. And then but then there's a kind of a little bit of a shift. That's all very high flown stuff. And then there's a shift, at least to me, there's a shift in register. For 'tis a question left us yet to prove whether love lead fortune or else fortune love.
Which comes first?
So, is this a free will question here? Does love, let's read this again. Whether love lead fortune, free will, or fortune, in ellipsis, lead love, where your choice is more constrained because fortune is kind of taking the lead. Your circumstances are taking the lead. Is that what he's getting at here?
I think that he is um, talking about conditions make us. We don't make conditions as much as conditions make us.
Mhm.
Or do we make the conditions? Is it like, is he giving you a dichotomy here when he talks about love leading fortune? Are you making the conditions on that part of this of the sentence?
Yeah, well, let me put it, I'll just try to put it in some everyday terms here.
Sure.
Okay. So, if you fall truly in love, does that help you make your fortune? Because you've got a steady partner that's working with you, and you can sit down and plan things together, and that leads to so-called luck. Or does love come because the guy had, I'm putting it in terms of the day, because the guy had money and power? Did the girl fall in love with him because he had money and power? Is that what is that is, there is that cynical view of love, which I believe is actually enacted far more frequently than we'd like to admit.
Mhm. But he does say, for 'tis a question left us yet to prove.
For 'tis a question left us yet to prove, whether love lead fortune or else fortune love.
Mm. He's not answering that question that you're posing.
But then look at the next line. The great man down, you mark his favorite flies. The poor advance makes friends of enemies. So this is
Is
this
this
is
the king being murdered, the great man down?
that would be an example, but I think it's making a more general statement than that.
Okay.
So once a great man is down, most people will, making an assumption here. You mark his favorite flies. Now, does anybody have a glossary on flies? Is this
He takes off. I think it says, so if you're a great person and you got your right hand person, his favorite, and the great man falls, his favorite flees, takes off.
Okay.
right? They go to
Yeah, that
wherever
makes
the
sense.
fortune. They follow
Okay.
fortune.
Right.
They abandon misfortune, and
I think that's it.
they abandon him in search of better fortune.
I thought it was a fishing word.
Me too.
Fishing flies.
Thanks for that, Dave.
Well, I was just going to warn you. That's not a gloss. It's a Dave Little gloss. So you take that for what
I
it's
like
worth.
it.
But I think that's
Makes
what he's
sense.
saying.
Makes sense.
Well, and it follows with the sentiment of the next line, which is the
Yeah.
poor advance makes friends of enemies. So people who used to hate you, what's that? What is that song? When, soon as you get back on your feet again,
Soon as you get back on your
here
feet,
comes your long lost friends.
everybody wants to be your long lost friend.
Yeah. It's the old blues
Mighty
song about
strange without a doubt. Nobody wants you when you're down.
nobody wants you when you're down and out. But
Yeah.
as soon as you're back on your feet again, here comes your long lost friend.
Mm.
No.
Okay.
Okay, somebody read the next couple of lines, and we'll continue the discussion. I get nervous when I read too much.
You, Duncan?
Okay. And hitherto doth love on fortune tend, for who not needs shall never lack a friend. And who in want the hollow friend doth try, directly seasons him his enemy. But orderly
Wow.
to end where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run, that our devices still are overthrown. Our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead.
Hmm.
No second chances.
Hitherto, up to this point, does love on fortune tend? So I think he's answering this question. The question you said was unanswered earlier, Donna.
Okay.
Is he not answering the question here? For 'tis a question left us yet to prove whether love leaves fortune or else fortune love. And it is not an answer, and hitherto does love on fortune tend, for who not needs shall never lack a friend.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of an answer, at least maybe just a temporary answer, but an answer to
Sure.
the original question.
Those who are prosperous will always have a friend.
As long as they're prosperous.
Yeah.
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 Yes, and the next couple of lines underpin that thought, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Orderly to end where I have begun. Our wills and fates do so contrary run. Help me out on this one.
Well, the will is not to take a second husband, from the beginning, but
Mm.
fate is that the husband dies and a new opportunity comes up. So your will was not to take the second husband, but fate kind of plays itself out so that you do take one. I suspect that may be it.
Certainly a possible meaning to it. Our wills and
That our
fates.
devices are overthrown. That our resolve is not adhered to.
Yeah, it says here, we are free to think, but not to decide what will. In other words, man proposes and God disposes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this brings us back to the question again of whether Gertrude was in on it or whether she just fell in line after that Claudius acted on his own. And then when Gertrude saw that he was going to become king, saw him become king, she willingly, shall we say, was ripe to fall from the tree.
Or is there a third option as well, which which we might see later, where Gertrude was, as they say, having it off with Claudius while King Hamlet was still alive, but was not in on the plot to kill King Hamlet.
Okay. Okay, I guess we will maybe find some answers to that as we go along.
And is Hamlet struggling because he doesn't want to think of his mother? as being complicit in a murder. Is that what his struggle is about? Or
Well, and he's upset that his mother married Claudius
oh no, yeah, I know
so,
that, but
so quickly.
Yeah, 2 months.
I mean, this is Hamlet's still got a little bit of the old-fashioned morality to him, which is mamas shouldn't run off and marry somebody so quickly.
Yeah, he figures that his father hasn't been mourned properly, and uh, I suppose what gives strength to that then is the ghost appearing to him to confirm the thoughts that he had in his head, and you know, deal with the king and let heaven deal with your mother.
So this part has to be written by Hamlet.
Yeah.
It has to be. So think thou will no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead. So this is the minor mousetrap, which will be followed by the major mousetrap. So it seems to me. Okay, I think we did a pretty good job on this. I'm sure there's more we could do with it, but we certainly.
So, Duncan, I'm back in Act One, Scene 5, where the ghost is giving Hamlet his pep talk there, and he does say adulterate beast. So I'm assuming that it's not adultery if you kind of hang tough till the husband is dead, and then oh yeah, okay, I'll marry his brother. But it is adultery if you're having it off with him when the
Right.
husband is still alive, and that's what the ghost accuses her of.
Yeah.
Adultery. He says he's talking about the king being adulterous, but I'm assuming that means that he was having it
Have a
off with his
partner.
wife
You gotta have a
when he was
partner
alive.
if you're gonna be adulterer.
So say it again.
You gotta have a partner to commit adultery.
Correct.
Actually, technically speaking, I believe that Gertrude would be guilty of the sin of adultery, but Claudius would be guilty of the sin of fornication.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Yes. Well done, Jim. Yes. Yes, that's quite right.
Okay, well then I guess we can say that we have no direct proof yet that Gertrude knew of the poisoning, but that she was fooling around, as they say.
Yes.
Like,
Well,
Which,
according to
of
the
course, I'm sure was a
ghost,
perennial problem. I'm sure it was a perennial problem for those old-fashioned heroes that were always storming off to war.
right?
Would be
Yeah.
gone years or,
Yes.
a long time, leaving the keys to the kingdom with their brother.
Or the keys to the chastity belt, as the case may be.
Yes.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. That's slightly different. I don't think there was a familial relationship, but when Agamemnon went off to
Off to
Troy.
Troy.
Troy, Clytemnestra was having it off with,
Mm-hmm.
gosh, who was it?
And when Odysseus returned home, Penelope was being loyal, but certainly she was being pressed on
Correct.
a number of
That's right.
fronts.
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Okay, let's see. Batista. Nor earth to me give food, nor heaven light. Okay. Oh, okay. Nor earth to me give food, nor heaven light. Sport and repose lock. Okay, so Baptista is playing the part of the wife. And having her resolve, nor earth to give me food, nor heaven light, sport and repose lock from me day and night. Each opposite that blanks the face of joy. Meet what I would have well and it destroy. Both here and hence pursue me lasting strife, if once a widow I ever be a wife. So is this not Baptista making a strong promise?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Hamlet shouts out, if she should break it now.
Right.
Actually, I wonder why it's an explanation instead of a question. But at least in my version, it's an exclamation mark.
Mhm.
Mine is a period.
Yours is a period.
Yeah.
And while we're here, a bit of late breaking news. I just I just Googled it, and Clytemnestra was having it off with Aegisthus. I hope I pronounced that correctly, who is Agamemnon's cousin, so still a family affair. So this is so I guess I point this out because this seems to be like a recurring motif through literature. As you said, Duncan, while the husband's away, the wife is not idle.
Well, look at the
I always thought she killed him because he sacrificed Iphigenia, his
Yes.
daughter.
Yes, I wonder about that, Anne. Yes, as prior to the ship's sailing, he sacrificed her
Yeah,
for the good luck of the expedition, and
yeah,
his
to
wife,
get safe winds or whatever to
yes,
start it.
and his wife took some offense at that.
Yeah, strangely
As you
enough,
would.
right?
As any of us would, yes.
So,
Yeah. No, I just
okay.
always assumed it was for that reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're back to Bloom again, are we?
Ah,
Well, we're back to that what is it, the Oristria. We're okay. So Hamlet, like I say, Hamlet is old hero, new hero. And Hamlet's the transition.
Hmm.
And then we have the old Homer. And then we have the Arista trilogy, which the Arista trilogy is saying, no, guys, you can't just go around killing people to take revenge because they seduced your wife or, killed your child. We need a better way to do that. And the Arista trilogy, as I understand it, is basically making the argument for a system of law. That you can't run a culture just on temper. Are you looking it up there, Dave?
I am.
Okay.
So it was Orestes, and there's a trilogy about Orestes. Then
Mhm.
okay, that's great. I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, Athena. I have not read the plays straight through and all that sort of thing. I've just read glosses, but Athena shows up,
Okay.
and she's there to argue for, telling the boys, don't just go around chopping off people's heads. We're done with that. We need a better system if you're gonna become civilized. And the way to do it is to set up a legal system and trials and all that sort of stuff.
Which is such a good point because that's exactly what Hamlet cannot avail himself of here.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's why he's caught in the middle, as they say.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, if she should break it now. 'Tis deeply sworn, sweet, leave me here a while. Okay. And then I think the next big piece of action is Hamlet turning to his mother and saying, Madam, how like you this play?
It's brilliant.
Huh.
And the king starts to catch on right after that.
Mm.
Yeah, where he says, have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it?
You know, and I guess we don't talk much about Claudius because we don't like him because of what he's done.
True.
But Hamlet talks in the early speech, okay, Hyperion was his dad, Hyperion to a satyr. So the sun god to like a forest creature kind of thing. But if Claudius is a satyr, he's a fairly smart one. There's a certain level of cunning about the man that is not to be discounted. I'm not making a moral statement. I'm just saying that he's no dummy. When
Henry
Hamlet's
Kissinger.
making his moves,
Henry
he's against
Kissinger.
a worthy adversary because the king is making counter moves.
And Hamlet would be biased anyway in favor of his own father.
Yes, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so of course this brings up the age-old question was, did he actually see a ghost or is this a dream that he had?
Yeah.
Yes, except that it's equivocal in the play because of what comes next. Don't want to do a spoiler here for you, Donna, but of what comes next, which we can talk about. But at the beginning, others see the ghost.
Yes.
Others do see the ghost, unless those others are also characters in Hamlet's dream,
Fair enough.
which is, I mean, we've already got a play within a play. And then we actually have Hamlet setting up other plays in here. Like when he's talking with Ophelia and tells her to get thee to a nunnery. And he knows that, or he probably knows that Claudius and Polonius are witnessing this whole thing. So that's, in a sense, that's another play.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point. Yes.
but going back to what we're looking at right now, when Claudius the king says, have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in it? If Claudius wasn't guilty, would he make a statement like that? Would someone like to read the little thing where the king says, what do you call the play? And Hamlet says, Sylvia, you want to read that?
Sorry. Oh yeah. What do you call the play? Is that where we're starting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next.
King, what do you call the play? Hamlet. The Mousetrap. Marry how? Tropically, this play is an image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzaga is the Duke's name, his wife Baptista. You shall see anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work, but what o' that? Your Majesty, and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the gall jade winch, our withers are unwrung. Enter Lucianus. This is one Lucianus, nephew to the king. Ophelia, you are as good as a chorus, my lord. Hamlet.
Sylvia, let me stop you
Yeah.
so we can concentrate for a minute or so on Hamlet thing there and what he's saying. So things that's come out to me, he uses Mary. And then he goes through that whole thing. He says, "Oh, it's a knavish piece of work, but so what? You and I, we're not guilty of anything. So it touches us not."
But the king is perplexed by this. He's going, what's the name of this plague? You know, suddenly he's waking up
Yeah.
to something in this play.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
Yes.
you're guilty, it's not going to affect you.
Yeah,
We're free souls. It touches us not.
Could I pose a query to the representative from the Lone Star State in the group and ask? There's an equine reference here, and I don't know what it means. What are withers? Do you know what they are, Duncan?
Oh, actually, I do know that a male goat who has been deballed is called a wither.
Okay.
And a wither is the back of the horse's neck.
Oh, it is.
Okay, so there's part of the horse's back between the shoulder blades. So that's a
Okay.
more relevant. That's a more relevant piece. Although I do get some amusement out of our withers are unwrung,
Yeah.
using my definition. When you have a herd of goats, you can only have so many intact males around. It just causes too much trouble otherwise. So usually it is females, some withers, and
let's see.
and one intact. God, I can't remember the correct term for an intact male goat who's kind of like king of the hill. Okay, not the gall jade.
They called that goat in Ireland the puck goat.
The pug?
Puck.
Puck.
P-U-C-K.
Puck.
And in a place called Killorglin, they have an annual festival. No, not like that. Just he's the main man. And there's a festival in Kerry, in Killorglin, every year where the puck goat is selected and he's treated as royalty and ensconced on a throne high up over the village.
Well, I only did that because yesterday in Ulysses we had the puckers, the boxers.
That's why I threw it in, because I gave a different explanation for puck yesterday.
Okay. All right. So anyway, Hamlet's setting up the king. The king is taking the bait. Claudius is taking the bait. And assuming that Hamlet is saying this loud enough that other people can hear, he's kind of trapping the king into watching more of the play.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the scene with Ophelia.
but he leaves it hanging because then they cut to another scene.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Which I think, that's Hamlet's intention. I mean, you usually when you're trying to bait somebody, you just want to, you want to give them a good old poke, and then you want to turn your attention elsewhere. So they have to stew in their own juices, as they say.
mm,
So, and then Ophelia, you are a good chorus, my lord.
you're as good as a chorus. And,
But this is a Greek chorus. I think he's referring to a Greek type chorus.
Yeah, telling what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
in Ireland, you'd be saying you're a good crack.
Okay. So then we get this whole round again of Hamlet and Ophelia having this coded sexual conversation, which is pretty bawdy.
It is. And when I first started teaching in the earliest part of my career, I taught this to grade 12 students, and I got them first thing in the morning. And the night before, they were often up to activities other than doing their homework, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
They'd show up in the morning, just dragging themselves into class. Heads would go down on their desks. And then I told them, I said, okay, keen, it means sharp, but it can also mean sexually aroused. And you just see the heads come up. Go, what? What did you say? I had one class. I taught Hamlet in the fall, and they were still talking about being keen by June. So, and this isn't totally irrelevant because Shakespeare's audience, the people in the pit, would have picked up on this as well, and and so yes.
Yeah, but once again, I mean, we have this thing. Ophelia is not a young innocent. I mean, based upon these conversations that she has with Hamlet, she's not a blushing violet, as they say.
Right. Or unless she's so innocent, she doesn't have a clue what she's saying.
Well,
but Hamlet picks it up right away, right? It would cost you a groaning to take off my name.
yeah. To which she says, still better and worse. Let's see, it's still better and worse, wittier yet more insulting. Oh, Hamlet, you're getting even more outrageous here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And the last, come, the croaking raven doth bellow for revenge. Someone want to read the Lucianus? Oh, is Lucian? Okay, Lucianus is one of the
Yes.
plays.
Yeah.
Right.
I assume he's Hamlet. This is one Lucianus, nephew to the king.
Okay, but in this case, I
Would
mean,
that not be?
the king in the play.
Mm.
No, that would be Hamlet. Yeah. I'm
Yes.
guessing.
And you want to read that part? The Lucianus
Okay.
part?
Lucianus. Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit and time agree. Confederate season, else no creature seen. Thou mixed your rank of midnight weeds collected, with Hecate's banned, thrice blasted, thrice infected. Thy natural magic and dire property, unwholesome life, usurp immediately.
Okay, so that's all pretty straight ahead, really. Pours the poison in his ears. And then, Donnie, you want to read the Hamlet thing? He poisons him
Sure.
in. Mhm.
He poisons him in the garden for his estate. His name's Gonzago. The story is extant and written in very choice Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife. Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Oh, Hamlet once again doing the chorus thing.
Yeah. Again, it's Hamlet playing with these people, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, he's
Just-
he's toying with them big time.
Yeah. And it's not even subtle at this stage. He's very direct.
Going for blood.
Yeah.
Jim, you want to just carry us to the end here of this
Okay, where will I start?
Ophelia, the King Rises.
Uh, Ophelia, the king rises. Hamlet. What? Frightened with false fire? Queen, how fares my lord? Polonius, give over the play. King, give me some light. Away. Polonius, lights, lights, lights. Hamlet, why? Let the stricken deer go weep. The heart ungalled play, for some must watch while some must sleep. Thus runs the world away. Would not this, sir, and a forest of feathers, if rest of my fortunes turn Turk with me, and with 2 provincial roses on my raised shoes, get me a fellowship in a cry of players, sir. Horatio, half a share. Hamlet, a whole one, aye. For thou dost know, O Damon dear, this realm dismantled was of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very, very pajock. Horatio, you might have rhymed. Hamlet, oh, good Horatio, I'll take the ghost's words for £1,000. Didst perceive? Horatio, very well, my lord. Hamlet, upon the talk of the poisoning? Horatio, I did very well note him. Re-enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Hamlet, aha. Come, come, music, come the recorders. For if the king like not the comedy, why then be like he liked, if not perdy. Come, some music, Guildenstern.
Yeah,
Good my lord, vouchsafe me for a word with you.
Jim,
Hamlet.
let's stop right there.
Okay. I
He was
got
on
this.
a roll.
I got carried away.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think this is the place where the king gives himself away, where he looks for some lights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And everybody is cooperating with the king. Well, Hamlet's there doing his Hamlet thing.
Mm-hmm.
What? Frighted with false fire? Which in my glossary says false fire is the discharge of blank cartridges from a firearm. But Dave, I do agree with you that Horatio is rather subdued in his responses. But nevertheless, it seems that Hamlet has been overwhelmingly successful in exposing the rats in the room.
Well, I suppose Horatio realizes the position he's in. Everybody has left the room with the king playing it safe, and here he is hanging around with Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
But he is Hamlet's friend. And
True.
I think he's trying to stay loyal to him despite the peer pressure of everybody leaving.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good point, Donna, because it somewhat contravenes the speech earlier in the play within the play, where when fortune abandons people, so too do the friends. Horatio does not. Everybody else has gone with the king because they know that that's where fortune and favor lie, but Horatio sticks with his pal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just actually going to say the same thing. But who not needs shall never lack a friend.
Did you?
Yeah, but also, I think that he realizes
But who not needs
the
shall never
way.
lack a friend.
Yes,
So
but I think
this
also
shows it.
he realizes the way the dice are falling. The king is guilty. Everybody probably knows it, but yet they're playing it safe, and only he is left with Hamlet.
But doesn't that mark him out as a better type of person, that despite all the pressure and despite Hamlet
Yes,
going on the way he is, that he's sticking by him,
it does. Yes, but
As
it
Dave says,
also.
it's all about ham buddy,
Yes, it does, but also he realizes the precarious position they probably both are in at this stage. Well, that Hamlet is in, and that he's with Hamlet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I agree.
So, Anne, what were you going to say?
I was just agreeing with Dave that the one that doesn't need a friend will always have loads of friends. The person that does need a friend in a tough time like now, he has only Horatio because there's nobody else there.
This kind of
Because everybody is minding their own back. So they're all going to go with the king regardless.
But it is a bit of a counterbalance to the cynicism of the earlier thing about, the rich man who becomes poor is abandoned. The poor man who becomes rich, everybody wants to be their friend. All this sort of thing.
I remember, and just to pick up on that point a little bit with a bit of, I guess, a footnote. I remember when I was taking King Lear at university, the prof said, if you want to, one of the ways to assess a character is look at who the character's friends are. It was with King Lear, actually. And, it tends to be the moral, good people who hang with King Lear, who do support him when everybody else has left him. And it's definitely in that play a way of keeping some of the audience's sympathy with Lear when he does stupid things, because you look at the quality of people who are still with him. And here, I think with Hamlet, it's another kind of feather in his cap, character-wise, that he's got this loyal friend. There's something about Hamlet that has inspired this kind of loyalty when everybody else is gone with the king.
Mm-hmm. Right. Enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Straight ahead talk. Except Hamlet starts ragging on Guildenstern.
I apologize for taking us back, but I've just done a Google search and I can't get an answer. Hamlet earlier, when everybody leaves, lights, exit all but Hamlet and Horatio. Hamlet says, "Why let the strucken deer go weep, the heart ungalled play." Does anybody have a note on what the word ungalled means?
Yeah, I think gall is poison. Again, going back to Lady Macbeth, she says she's trying to stiffen up her resolve, and she says, "Come to my woman's breast and take my milk for gall."
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, uninjured. Yeah, look at okay, why the strucken deer go weep. So that's Claudius and the others that run out of the room.
Mhm.
The heart ungalled play.
Yeah, the heart has not been poisoned.
Right, meaning the innocence.
Yeah, the heart is an animal here.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, it's a type of deer, I believe,
It is. Yeah.
where some must watch while some must sleep, so runs the world away.
It says here in the book I have while the heart ungalled, while the unscathed one, Hamlet, can enjoy his leisure and his sleep. The wounded dear Claudius must now be on his guard, while the unscathed one, Hamlet, the heart ungalled, can enjoy his leisure and his sleep.
Mhm. Okay. Seems awfully optimistic, though. I mean, once you've alerted your enemy that you're on them,
Yeah.
it's not the
Yeah,
time to sleep.
Yeah,
correct.
that's right.
Sorry, Dave, just going back to your query about gall.
Yep.
It also comes from gallbladder, which of
Mhm.
course produces bile.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Bitter.
Thank you.
Bitter.
This has been such a good day for me to discuss this because this is such a long play that it often gets glossed over. And this
Yeah.
is the first time that I've really had a chance to kind of parse this through line by line. And I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you.
Yeah, me too. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
all of
Great.
us, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a rare pleasure, I think, that
Yeah.
anyone gets to do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just shows how much is in Shakespeare, that you
Yes.
can go through it line by line. And if you were to go to the theater, this will all just sort of go over your head. You have the main thrust of of the play, but you don't have this analysis.
Oh,
Do you remember the Japanese woman that was reading with us?
Mhm.
She does, yeah.
And she told us at one point, I don't know if you remember it. Now this is a scholar. She came to Austin to do some work on some of the Dubliner stories, I believe, at this research center that we had. And after one of our readings, I believe it was a Dubliner story, and she said that she was extremely happy that she had never had such a wonderful time reading Joyce.
Huh.
That's wonderful.
Great.
And I think it was just because we were reading rather slow, and then we, had everybody was, bringing in their opinions and their facts and all that stuff. Oh yeah,
That's good to hear.
yeah, yeah.
Has she left us, Duncan, do you know, or?
Yeah, she went back in mid-March. That's why she hadn't joined us. She was actually, the last time she joined us was within days of her leaving.
Right.
So
Okay.
she's back in Tokyo now. So I think this, since you took us back here, Dave, we're gonna look at it again, because this thing with Horatio and Hamlet, where Hamlet's basically saying, didn't you think that was really good? Didn't you, would it get me a fellowship and a cry of players, sir? And Horatio says, half a share. Okay. The major players and the Chamberlain's men had shares in the company's assets. So he should get half a share, whatever that means. And Hamlet goes, a whole one, for thou dost know, O Damon dear. Damon being a classic idea of a friend, is Damon. This realm dismantled was of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very, very Pajak. And then Horatio says, you might have rhymed. Ah, okay. And what, according to my note, what Horatio is saying was where Hamlet is saying this realm dismantled was that was is actually was of Jove himself, and now reigns here and see, I'm trying to get this figured out. A very, very Jacques. Okay, I see. So in the line where uh, Hamlet says a very, very Pajak, and Horatio says you might have rhymed. Horatio's saying, why didn't you use ass instead of Pajak? You might have rhymed. In which case it'd be a very, very ass. Was ass. Oh, good Horatio. I'll take the ghost word for £1,000. Didst perceive? And then I think the key, Dave, to your earlier comments about Horatio is how the actor would read the lines.
I agree. Yes.
But it could have been very well, my lord. I could have been very well, my lord.
Yes.
And that's just going to depend upon who the director is and who the actors are.
Mm.
Very good point.
Okay. It is 2:46. Do we want to go deeper into this Gilderstern Hamlet talk for the next, say, 15 minutes, or do we want to stop here? I'm going to take the slowness of response as a sign that we have done enough for one day. We have plumbed the depths and utilized our brains and our senses of humor, etc., and that it's time to bid anon or bid adieu until the next time.
We've given Shakespeare a good going over.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Okay. Well, thank you, folks. It's as always
It's
a good
wonderful.
fun, and we've made some progress.